Hi guys, welcome to another video tutorial with me, Clarice, and in this video we are going to be painting some loose vines with some pretty and simple flowers. And the products we're going to be using, well, for colors mainly, I'm using one of the new little palettes by KMS Watercolor. You guys, if you've been watching most of my videos over the past couple of months or even over the last 3 or 4 years, I've been using exclusively KMS metallics in most of my paintings because I absolutely love her paints. So today we're going to be using this cute little pastel-like palette called La Primavera. And for the rest of the supplies, so for the vines, I want to keep you guys in practice using the Petals brush so you can continue exploring everything that this brush is capable of doing. And then obviously I'll be using my favorite, which is the Princeton Velvetouch number 4. For paper, I'm using Baohong. I've got water ready and I've got a paper towel handy. And if you're a beginner in watercolor and you're looking for suggestions and supplies, these are the supplies I would absolutely suggest if you're new to watercolor. I've listed everything in the link for an Amazon online shop of mine below, so feel free to check that out, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is get to mixing this beautiful green called Succulent right here, and it's this gorgeous color. And while we're mixing this, guys, I just want to remind you, if you like DIY watercolor videos like this, you paint for fun, you're painting for relaxation, this is what my videos are all about. So make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and follow along for a lot of fun painting sessions with me. All right, so on that note, my mixing is going to be about a 30-70 sort of percentage. I'm just trying to activate this and get as much as I can. So I'm happy with this mixture that I have, and we're going to start painting with the Petals brush. And I like to use a nice fine pointed tip. If you're unsure how to use this brush and you have missed the beginner videos for this, I suggest that you check out what I've listed in the description below, and you will definitely find that handy before jumping on here. So using the nice fine pointed tip, we're gonna first create our stems. And those are the stems that's going to extend into leaves, obviously. And then once we have that structure in, we will go in and add some nice little berry style elements and even flowers. But first we need to make sure we've got that nice flowy stem with our leaves. So using that nice fine pointed tip, I'm going to start off with doing a nice little curve like this. And feel free to add a little bit of extra color or even a little extra thickness to your stem if you feel like you need to. I have thin at the top, excuse me, and thick at the bottom. And then from here on, we're going to create nice little leaves. And so I'm going to start off with, actually before the leaves, let's do a couple more stems just so we have an idea of where we're placing things. So here's another stem coming out this way. Let's create one happening this way. And I'm even going to have an extended one over there. Okay, so something like that. We're even going to do some extended ones here. We want to try and fill up the page, sort of, kind of. So now comes the fun part of painting our leaves. And so I'm going to start off with doing the first one over here, using or grazing with my fine pointed tip, trailing down, and then trailing off back to the fine pointed tip. Depending on how your mixture is or how much watercolor you've mixed, you might get it light, you might get it dark. You can always go back on if you want to just add a little bit more of a darker feel to it. I'm going to create another one extending here and give it a little bit of a curve. These are one of my favorite types of leaves to do because A, it's repetitive, it's a single stroke, and it really kind of forces you to twist and turn your brush. And so you're getting so much practice and education out of this that it is very helpful when you go on to create other elements with it, because now you suddenly know how to wield the brush. Okay, so things like that or leaves like that. I'm going to get more color mixed. And then we're going to proceed to creating more in the stems below. So same thing with the stems below. Like for instance over here, I'm going to start with the stem, on the stem, press down, and then trail off like this. So it's really a preference, like if you prefer to start from the outside in or inside out. So the only way to really figure out which is your favorite way of doing things is by actually practicing it. And by practicing it, it could also be like the one time that you try it and then you're like, okay, this is easy for me. Because different people have different preferences. And then the key is to sort of use that almost like a muscle memory, because the more you do, the more it kind of gets ingrained in your action and in your hand movements when you paint. Okay, so let's do a couple more. I'm going to do another one over here. And I like to kind of do almost like an S or like a comma when I do these leaves instead of just doing it straight. This is what creates that nice, beautiful movement. Let's do this one first before I do anything else. So I'm going to start from here, press down, trail off. And it's like loose, whimsical, light in color, just delicate and pretty. And that's the whole vibe that we are going for. I'm going to do another one over here. You can literally just keep on extending and painting these all over. So use your creative judgment, use your creative freedom and go with it. And this is also what makes this exercise beginner friendly, because I'm showing you simple strokes and it's all about just you picking up that brush and having a go at it. This is literally the best way to learn. I get a lot of people commenting on my videos going, oh, she makes it look so easy. And it actually is easy once you just get an idea of how the brushes work, how the color moves, and what your comfort level is at with these. Okay, so let me do a couple more. I'm going to do one more extending here. And then a tiny leaf kind of just coming from out in. And you can see how it's like a very fluid movement. So we're giving the petals brush a bit of a rest, and we're going to go in here and get some of the marigold, which is this cute little mustardy orange almost. I'm not going for the buttercup yet. I'd like to keep that for the actual flowers that we do. And so we'll use the marigold for our little bud-like elements. So I'm mixing a very potent amount, and I'm going to then get more water to kind of water it down so that it's not super dense. And then we're just going to take the number 4, and all we're doing is loading the brush with color, making sure we got that nice fine pointed tip, and we're going to place down little dots to create our berry-like elements. So we're gonna have some of these elements kind of tied into our stem. So here we go. I'm gonna start with some over here at the bottom. All I'm doing is this. And they can be a little bit of a bubble if you want. I think that's the easiest, especially if you're a beginner. These are super easy and fun to do. So you just bunch them up. And I'm trying to have an idea of where they're going to be connecting. And then this way it kind of gives me an idea of where to place them. But you know, for your first time, just kind of go at it. And then once we go to the next step, it'll be an aha moment for you. And so it'll better educate you on what to do next time. So some areas can just have maybe 3 of them. Some areas can have a whole bunch like this. I'm going to do one more side. Let's do this one at the top here. And this one can be maybe like 1, 2, 3. Let's do 5 here. Something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's leave it at that. And then, so let's leave this at 3. And now we move on to doing tiny little flowers. Super easy, super simple kind of flowers. Feel free to pick between any of these colors that I'm using. I'm going to go to pink because I love pink, and I'm going to definitely use a little bit of that purple. So here's what the pink looks like, and it's called Blossom. A beautiful name for a pretty color. Okay, so mixing it down, and again using the number 4, all we're going to do is, first of all, figure out where you want to place your blossom. I'm going to have one happening right here, and so these are just going to be flowers that are facing upward, okay? So don't worry too much about different types or styles. So pressing down, trailing off. Dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm going to do another stroke right next to it and another one, and this is going to be our flower. Okay, so similar style, we're going to do another one. So if we have one here, let's do one here. And try and control the size of it. And if they kind of overlap on the leaf, that's okay. I'm going to do one more kind of just facing outward and make it tinier so it looks like it's protruding from there. I'll do another one happening here. Feel free to turn your sheet around if you can only do these blossoms facing upward. Because I'm recording this, I'm just going to do it in the one way. And then last but not least, let's do one more. And I'll have this one go here, again on a smaller scale. So we've got 5, and now I'm going to switch over to the purple. And this is called Lavender. I'm just going to mix it off to the side here. Although maybe the blue might also work really well, which is called Bluebell. But you guys know I love my purples and pinks, so we're going to stick with this. Okay, so let's do a couple here. And these can be more rounded at the bottom. Dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm creating another one, just tiny little strokes. Let's put a couple over on this side. I'm going to twist my page this way. And then last but not least, let's get some happening. We've got 1, 2, let's do some here. All right, so we are now switching back to our petals and getting more of that succulent green. And we're going to extend and create stems for our little berry style elements first, and then go to our flowers. So a lot of these berry style elements are still pretty damp. So if you want to give it a little bit more time, then go for that. So what I'm going to do, because mine are still very, very damp, I'm going to start off with my flowers first. And let's start off with the pink flowers. This one's a tiny bit damp, but I don't mind if there's a little bit of seepage, because it kind of gives you a nice, pretty effect. I'm kind of doing this as a twist a little bit. We're going to do another one extending this way into our purple. And then from here, if you want to have overlapping leaves over these elements, that can also work. Just make sure you do it at the very end so that you have a full idea of where you're adding your stems so that you're not overdoing it. So we're going to do some here. Turning this guy upside down. So I've waited long enough for these guys. So using the same green, we're going to start slowly and carefully just extending these into little stems. And this is where the Petals brush also excels because the fine pointed tip is fabulous, more so than the fine pointed tip that the Velvetouch number 4 gives as well. You get such fine details with this. It's super, super pretty if you're looking for fine details like that. Okay, so something like this works. And now this gives us a better idea of where we can add more leaves and more elements. So I'm going to add more of these guys in other areas as well, just to give us more flair. Like for instance, over here, I think this area could use some. So I'm going to add one here, and really like space them out this time. We can even add some kind of hanging outward or slightly higher than the smaller ones. So it gives you more room to get more whimsical almost. Same thing over here actually. So if we do like a nice floppy stem this way, or even kind of upward, but let's do it more downward so that those flowers are not getting interfered with. And all I'm doing is dotting and slightly doing a mini circle to kind of tie things in. I'll even do some here actually. And then these can be flopping from that stem there. We're finding ways to extend and make more movement within our painting here. So mixed a bit more of the green, and I just realized I didn't extend to add this guy here. To a stem. And yeah, let's go on and create more for these berry style elements we've created. So kind of like that. And they don't have to be super straight. They can have a little bit of wiggle in them. And this way we're giving, again, more fluid movement within our painting. This exercise is also going to help you with your composition styles and also kind of figuring out placement for things, which is very, very helpful when you're starting out. And the only way, again, to learn things like that as well is, you guessed it, you got to go with the flow and give it a shot. And only once you try it will you know if it worked or didn't work. So all of those are kind of connected now. And so now we can fluff up the area by adding a little bit more leaves. And now these leaves that we're going to do can be stuff that's just floating, doesn't quite necessarily need to be attached to any stem or anything like that. So again, taking some color, I'm going to extend, because this was supposed to be the tallest element, but now we've got 2 flowers there. So I'm going to create another leaf kind of just coming outward, or from out, kind of in like this. I'm going to do another one coming downward here. And if you don't like the first shape of your leaf, feel free to go in and add another little wiggle or stroke in to kind of really help it along. You can even add some in between. Get some overlapping is what I meant to say as well. So over here. Overlapping is always helpful as well. I think a lot of us, when we start out, we don't really do a lot of overlapping because our brains are not programmed to embrace the overlap. But when you make a more conscious effort, I guess that's when you realize, oh, there's nothing stopping me from overlapping, really. It is allowed. It's not against the rules. I'm going to do another one here. And you can see you're just fluffing up and enhancing everything on another level. And these colors are so cute with it, with this design. I think I'm all leafed out now. So we're just going to connect these 2 guys that we missed out. And now that they're in, I'm just adding that leaf in there. And I got a little bit of a smudge there. So when you get smudges like this, just take a brush, make sure you've washed it off. You dab it on some paper towel so you don't have too much water. And then you can just do this to take out the stain. And then you can just dab it off. Mind you, use a clean paper towel if you don't want other color coming on there. But that's essentially, in a nutshell, how to clean it out. But this is how we do a cute little whimsical leafy pattern with some floral elements using our Princeton Petals and the round number 4. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed these delectable colors by KMS. They're lighter, they're more pastel-y, they're softer, they're beautiful. I've listed every item that I've used here in the description below, so feel free to check that out. And I'd love to see how you do. So if you do end up trying this out, please tag me on social media. I have listed my links below. And last but not least, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. I would love it for you to join me in your watercolor journey. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll chat soon. Bye.